Hello and welcome to the tutorial for uploading your models to the OAD. First thing you want to do is check within Maya whether or not you have in your outliner a singular mesh named according to what it is you're turning in, and also to make sure that it is accessing a singular texture file, a JPEG that is 512 by 512. So when you're done with this, you can save things out and then go on to the class web page. So the class web page is here. In the lower right hand corner you have all these little icons, and you can click on one of the icons and it takes you to the page for the OAD. You will want to click on the tab for Add Model. So here we are. This should look like so, with all these bits of information that you need to put in. In fact, I'm going to squeeze down my web page so you can see the whole thing. Here we are. Going back to where you saved your mesh, and in this case I have an old version of the model that wasn't as cleaned up, and you can tell the difference here, and the newer version. Take both the texture and the mesh that it is accessing, and you want to zip them up. So in this case I'm going to go to not a 7z file but a .zip file, and once it's done, this is the place I'm going to be accessing the zip file. And this is done so that people that are downloading your work in the future have everything they need. Materials is, this is just a basic description about the materials used. So I've got steel, metal, I suppose, and then the category would be vehicles. You could put it in a miscellany, but you have several basic ideas here for you. And in this case, it's a vehicle. Tags would be war, tank, metal, created by, and put your name in here. And the thing you want to do about this is you want to make sure that you get all of your information right the first time, because there is unfortunately no redo. So when I am browsing now, the only thing that's required, of course, is the Maya file with the texture, which is up here at the top. These are all different formats that have sort of been deprecated. We've stopped supporting them, but they were there at one time. In case you have other versions of this for these engines, you can upload those as well. They are not required. The only things that are required, of course, are in this really saturated red, hard to miss. So I've uploaded this now. In case I want to do anything like the screenshots, you can come back here to Maya, open up your model, and you can go into the render view. What you do is you can click on this clapboard of the 4 here on the right, and it'll instantly bring up a render window. In my case, far too big, so I want to kind of cut this down to something reasonable. So I'm going to bring it in, and this is basically just a shot of the vehicle. Now, important to note at this point is that the background is incredibly dark, and it's starting to eat up some of the detailing of the tank. So if I go into View, select Camera, and then go down to View, Camera Attribute Editor, it'll bring up all the things about the camera that I'm rendering from, including the vital information down here, which is Environment. So if you click on Environment, you can actually use this as a slider to sort of lighten up. And this should make a better background for the render, because with it being gray in the background, you can actually see the black and the light, and this is a better shot. The only thing I need to make sure is that I get close so that it sort of goes right to the edges. And the render is on 2.0. I want to make sure that I'm not using anything too strange. I'm using Mental Ray, which I don't need. I can just use the Maya software. A lot simpler. So I do this again. Pops up. Pretty nice. I want to get even closer. See how far I can push this. A little too much. So pull back and maybe you sort of manually come in a little bit closer. The reason is that although I'm seeing this at full screen here, ultimately this will become a thumbnail on the OAD, and you want it to be a lot more descriptive so that people know what they're downloading. So right from File, I can come in here to Save Image, and I can go to my desktop, and I can, instead of alias pics, come into JPEG and say tank perspective. So that's a nice little render there. Also, from the different views, what I can do is I can just say, get a nice beauty shot from the side. Since the environment's already been made gray, I've got that color going on so that things can be kind of consistent. If I want to save image here, I'm going to do the same thing with tank perspective, only in this case I'm going to say tank and change it to side, and then one last one maybe from the front. There we are. That's a little uneven. Up there. Great. So now I've got 3 views of this tank, and I'm going to use these as different images for the OAD. Very descriptive. In fact, let's do one last one just because it's that kind of day. I'm going to do one from the top. And from here, I can save the image. I just right-clicked on the image, by the way. I've been using File, but if you right-click on the image, you get the same drop-down menu. And so I'm being a bit of a completionist here. And this allows people to cycle through all of these pictures to see what it is they're going to be uploading before it even goes there. So front, side, back. I have no back. But perspective is required. So I'm going to come here to my desktop and go to the date things were last done, and I should be able to see the tank perspective. Open that up. I also want a tank from the front, and I have tank side. I've done that as well. And the last one is tank back, but no, I'm gonna rebel here and do tank top because something's better than nothing. There's no movie attached, and the submission process is here at the very bottom, so you just click on submit. And it'll pop you over here to the database. I just had to enter it twice, and if I type in metal slug, I actually get the original entry, I think from 2007. Yes, indeed. And the one we did right here just now. Only these arrows show that it is a series of pictures we can cycle through. So the person that wants to do the downloading, again, gets a much better view of the object before they download it, and they know what they're getting. So that's pretty much the idea between the idea for uploading your models. Please contact the TA if you have any problems. Thank you.